Hey, it's been a while. I'm Addy. You might know me as Lost Saves, Epos Vox, the Stream Professor guy. I haven't really made a whole lot of videos in a while. It's been no secret that I've been incredibly burned out on the state of technology, the state of YouTube specifically, the platform where I primarily host my videos, although that's changed in the past year, and just the direction things are going in terms of any sort of corporate media, technology, any of that. I've been making a lot of changes to address this. A lot of the videos you've seen on my primary channel, Epos Vox, have actually been filmed way earlier in the spring when I was on just kind of a binge of filming a bunch of stuff without publishing. I actually published all of those videos to my own site, demodisc.zone, my forums, months in advance before they ended up on YouTube. And I felt a lot better about those videos when I was publishing them myself rather than on the platform. And that's kind of led to a lot of things. I've really started to get my work back, or try to get my work back out in the physical world, in the real world, in people's hands, not in an algorithm where people aren't even making the choice to watch it in the first place. It's just being fed to them. And it's much more difficult to build any sort of deeper connection with the work, with the creator, with the message even. I want to keep pushing that as far as I can. I want to keep finding where that boundary is for me, because I spent so much of my career leading up to this point really, really changing everything. The whole web video scene when I got into it was this revolutionary idea. It was this democratization of a medium, of a genre, of a industry that was completely inaccessible to the normal person when I got into it. And that's what made it exciting, made it more relatable to the normal person, so to speak, and why I wanted to teach it. And gaming was also this underdog thing for most of my life. YouTube was, for at least half of its life, the narrative was given that it was this underdog platform that only the tech giant Google could have because it's so expensive and they can just pour money into it, and it was never making a profit, supposedly. Meanwhile, every year in the past few years, we get obscene numbers of how much money YouTube is making. An article just came out that in the first half of 2016, or the first quarter, we're looking at like $11 billion in revenue from ads alone, and that subscriptions pushed YouTube into the $60 billion revenue territory in 2025. Meanwhile, our ad rates are getting lower, and the decisions I feel like the leadership on the platform are making continue to just not be what I'm into. Meanwhile, over in the gaming space, which is normally my happy place, capitalism is ruining a lot. The indie game scene is thriving and doing incredible stuff, and I want to embrace that. The AA space as well, but the main console owner publishers and the bigger publishers and things like that are just doing a lot of ridiculous stuff. And games media itself is suffering. Layoffs, entire websites shut down, teams let go, sites are getting bought up by AI content farms like Valnet, and people are getting laid off like crazy. The market, the industry, whichever one you want to point to in the world, obviously this extends far beyond my niches, is a train wreck right now. But I wanted to make something you could hold in your hands, something that would allow you to have a physical product, something that would allow it to connect with you, hopefully on a bigger level. And something that would also solve another problem I have, which is that in general, online just sucks at the moment. Whether it's bots or very angry people who are just fed up with the state of the world, discourse about games or technology or whatever is a miserable place to be online. There's no room for nuance, no room for long-term, thought-out ideas. So in the year 2026, I made a gaming magazine, a real paper gaming magazine that you hold in your hands, that gets shipped to your door, or maybe you stumbled upon one in a little free library. I've been distributing some that way, that you go through, you take your time, maybe you reread it, maybe something set weird with you and you gotta reread it again, consider the perspective, that you can look at the big high-res screenshots, you can pull out the inserts to get additional information. I've also stuck lots of goodies or mini zines or other ideas into so many copies of these. Something that doesn't have a comment section, that you can't just take your instinct gut reaction and word vomit it out to somebody. You have to sit with it. You have to think about it. You have to let it process. And then you get to do whatever you want with it. You can pass it along to someone else. You can throw it away. I'd rather you didn't. Maybe at least try to recycle it. I honestly don't know about the recycling viability of magazine paper, but at least try. You could donate it to a library, put it in a little free public library for yourself that in neighborhoods and things like that. Donate it to a retro game shop, or you can put it on your shelf and come back to it, and maybe go to the links in the description and subscribe to it. This is called Jam Packed. This is a completely human-made, not a single bit of AI touched any of these pages, gaming magazine. Mostly done by myself. The design work, most of the writing, the screenshot placement, all of it. I did this over the course of May and June. I brought on a couple contributors for a few pieces. The rest of the writing is myself, so you don't see a whole lot of bylines other than on the reviews, because the rest is just me, and it felt silly to put every page by me. This is a work of passion, a work of dedication, and a commitment to the belief that getting a real tangible thing in your hands matters. That when you are filtering something through a screen, that it inherently biases your perspective on it. And it biases how you engage with it, how you react to it. And if it's fed to you through an algorithm rather than an intentional choice to seek it out and engage with it, that taints things in many ways. This is something that will not just show up to you, that you have to choose to purchase it or seek it out in some way. And a belief that with the way things are going, with major players starting to remove physical media entirely, with store shelves starting to remove physical media, despite the fact that vinyl has kind of taken over the world, CD sales themselves have seen a 16% surge in the first half of 2026. Some of those people don't have CD players. They're not actually playing the music, but they recognize the value of either supporting a creator, be it a music artist, whatever, beyond what streaming can support them with, or having a tangible physical manifestation of the thing that you like in your hand. People still value that and recognize that. And as much data as you can throw out or make up or skew about people not choosing physical media over digital, there is a fallacy there in equating choice with preference. There's a lot that could be said about that over on the Dualcom podcast on my buddy BBK Dragoon's channel. I have a lot that I discuss about that. I'll have that linked in the description below. We just had a show about that. But I believe as we are seeing a resurgence in physical media, some of it's trendy, some of it's not. We're seeing a resurgence in people wanting, especially younger people, wanting to move offline, wanting to move back into the real world, away from slop and away from advertising, clickbait, whatever. That at least for a little while, physical media is the play. And so I'm making a magazine. This is already out. This is issue 1. This is going to be a quarterly publication, so I'm targeting the seasons. Summer, fall, winter, spring, back to summer next year. I'm not going to push for every month right now, unless we have like some crazy staff or something, which I don't want to do because I don't want to have to lay anyone off if things don't go well, because that's part of the problem. I want to keep it small and in scope. This is the summer issue. This is a magazine that focuses on the human thought behind gaming. Intentional gaming, reviews of games you might have overlooked or games you maybe have never heard of, recommendations, Next Fest demos that you might want to try, ways to engage with gaming and the hobby that you hadn't considered before, some extra thoughts, some cool stuff, some in-person events you might want to attend. And I want to keep going from here. This is about 72, 74-ish pages of content. Yeah, about 74 pages of written word and screenshots in here. And I want to push it further. I want to improve the quality. I want to get more people involved. I want to be able to pay people. I maybe want a demo disc in here one day. I have a lot of ideas, but I want to not put the cart before the horse. Batch 1 already shipped out. I actually spent a good 3 weeks because I'm doing this. I'm not printing these by hand. My normal little mini zines and stuff I print here in my studio, do all the printing and packaging and everything. This was printed in bulk by a printer and then shipped to me. And then I'm doing all the packaging, putting in all the inserts, all the little extra goodies, putting them in envelopes, putting on the mailing labels, shipping them out myself. I filled up my entire trunk load with the rest of batch 1 that I just got out 2 days ago at the time of recording. Batch 2 is still open. I originally had batch 2 slated to end on July 31st. As a kind of birthday present to myself and the fact that I haven't made an announcement video yet, I am extending that a couple weeks into mid-August. I will start shipping some issues early, but I do have to order a second batch 2 if enough orders come through, so But you can still get in on this, and then I will have very limited quantities from there because it's very expensive to get something like this printed. I am not making much of a profit here. That is not the idea. I've started doing the math. My profits are very slim, and if I start bringing on people to pay or adding in extra goodies, increase the page count or whatever, the profit dries up quick. That is not the goal. I do have to make a living at some point, and this is one of many factors in the career that I'm trying to sustain here. But this is not, I don't even have real advertising in here. I have goofy ads, like spec work ads that I made for myself as creative projects because I miss old school magazine and poster ads and stuff. But no one's paying for placement in this whatsoever. I would like to see this in your hands. If you are a retailer, I would love to see this in your shop. And not even just buying it, but like I want to see pictures of it. I want to go visit it. I want to make this happen. If you believe in that, if you want to come on this journey with me, jampacked.quest, link in the description below, website where you can pick up just issue 1 from batch 2 here, or you can go ahead and subscribe to the quarterly issues so that you automatically start getting the next one. The next one we're targeting October. We're going to have a fall theme and maybe some spooky stuff and whatever. Winter theme will include some of the Game of the Year stuff that we talk about every year from the community, as lots of stuff. And the goal is to not focus on the big mainstream games everyone talks about to death. We have a little bit. We ended up with Pragmata on the cover here because the game I wanted to feature, I never got assets from the publisher for, and they laid off the studio after the fact. So spicy about that. There's an insert about that. Pragmata is still something I would consider a somewhat overlooked game. It's from Capcom, so a major publisher and studio, but one that kind of will fly under the radar a little bit. But we will be focusing heavily on games that are worth your time, ideally aren't going to suffer a whole lot of layoffs, that are not just the big stuff. And I think there's a lot of potential here. And while you're on my shop grabbing this, I have mini zines, I have pins, I have cassette tape flash drives of our backing track albums, lots of stuff there that would be interesting if you wanted to check it out. And I got some other big plans for where I'm going to take this, not just as a magazine, but other things we can do in the physical space. And I will have some announcements for that coming very soon. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I have really delayed making this video, both because I've been renovating my studio here. This is like a fairly different backdrop than usual. And I've been so busy packing up batch 1. Response so far to batch 1 has been incredible. Thank you all so much. And I've been trying to figure out the words I want to say. I started this before Sony's discless announcement, and I didn't want to just be like, everything bad, here's my magazine. But really, the place that this is coming from is a belief that things could be better if we went back to not prioritizing what could be the biggest profit or get us in front of the most eyeballs, but what had the biggest possible impact. And that is what I want this to be. That is what I want this magazine to represent, is things that can have the biggest impact and actually sit with you, versus a bajillion clickbait videos where I almost knocked something down. A bajillion clickbait videos where I'm pandering to an algorithm and trying to just bait your clicks and get you raged up or whatever for an ever decreasing ad revenue. So let me know what you think. URL in the description down below if you want to go check it out for yourself. Like I said, if you're a retailer, convention holder, whatever, you want extra copies of these, please let's talk. I do have a couple retailers outside of the US. ClassicGameStore.ch is handling Switzerland pre-orders, and I'm supposed to be getting a small batch up to 8-Bit Mods for the UK. I do have international orders available on my website, but with current times, that stuff is very expensive, and I don't blame you if you don't want to pay double the price just to get it shipped to your country. I'm sorry, I cannot really do anything about that. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your understanding, your patience in the lack of videos. I am completely rebuilding my space, moving things I have not moved since I moved in here 6 years ago now, to completely recalibrate because I'm going different places in 2026. This is a metamorphosis that has been building for a while, and I'm so excited to see what the next stage of my journey is. Remember to be kind, rewind.